IVM.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Positively Unlimited podcast. And if you have been tuning in week on week, then you know that the last 2 weeks we have spoken about living your potential and finding your purpose. So the third episode in that series today is about measuring success. So if you heard the episode on living your potential, it was about how you used your daily fuel. When I spoke about finding your purpose, I bust a few myths about finding your purpose. And today I'm going to talk about how we measure success, or rather, most of us don't. Why do I say we don't? Because usually when we talk about success, like when we talk about money, we use vague words. What do I mean by vague words? So, in fact, just this morning, not even recently, just this morning, I had a client who messaged me saying, sometimes I feel I deserve better. And my response to him was, can you define better? Now, this is what I mean by vague words. When we measure our success, we need to know in very clear terms what we define the word success as in different aspects of our life. When you say you want to live a successful life, what do you mean by that? Are you counting that in terms of money? And if you are counting that in terms of money, then how much money in your bank, in investments, in assets, and coming to you as regular income would you term as successful? If you are defining success as your job, your career, your business, then what are the terms under which you define it? At what level will you look and say, oh, I'm now successful? If you define it in terms of your personal life, then how do you define what state of relationships equals to a successful life? Is just getting married and having 2 kids and putting them through college living a successful life? Or the quality of your relationships, does that tell you that you are having a successful life? Does it even have to do with marriage? Or is it about your family in general, or about friends, or about all your relationships in general? So I want you to think about this question this week, and I want you to answer this. How do you measure success? Now, let me give you an example from my own life about how I measure my success. So I spoke a little bit about this particular incident and feeling in episode 81, which was about feeling homesick. And I've also spoken about how much I traveled this year in a couple of my episodes. It's been a good 2019, and I hope that's how it's been for you too. But talking about measuring success. So I remember sitting in Brussels, which was the last part of my very long trip. And I remember messaging a friend saying that, you know what, today I'm feeling homesick. And obviously she was kind of shocked because I don't usually feel homesick, especially not when I travel or not when I do anything. So we got to talking and it got me thinking. And at the end, I realized that I was feeling homesick because I did not have the people I love the most there with me to share this trip. And it's also that's when I realized that I'm not a solo traveler. I'd much rather travel in groups and with very close friends. I'd much rather live life together than with space and on my own. But that's just me. And it was in that moment that I realized that at this moment in my life, at this point in my life, I am honestly living my most successful life. And why do I say that? Because very simply, I have thriving relationships, family and friends, and with clients. I earn a good amount of money to live the kind of life I want to live, doing what I love to do. And I have so many things in my life that are going for me, and these are things that I am choosing very consciously. So for me, that is a successful life. Having the ability and the willingness to do the things I want to do and not just what I need to do. That's how I define it. Also, for me, a very, very large layer, in fact, 70% of my definition of success is the quality and state of my relationships. So if all my relationships, friends and family are in a good space, then I'm living a successful life. But that's how I've been able to define it. So when I feel down and out on certain days, when I feel things are not going my way, when I feel, okay, how do I move past this obstacle? I never end up feeling that my life is not good enough. I don't have a sense of, oh, poor me, or, oh, when will I be successful, or when will I make lots of money? Now, when I started thinking about how I'm thinking versus how a lot of my other clients are thinking and why they feel this conflict within, I realized it was because things weren't clearly defined. So if you talk in vague terms, then you are going to feel uneasy. If you have heard my episodes on overcoming anxiety and the episodes on fear and letting go, you will realize one thing that I always say. It's about placing yourself in certainty as and when needed. We feel anxious when we feel uncertain. Hence, if you define success clearly, then you are defining your destination clearly, and hence you will know which road you are taking, or you will at least know how to improvise and which detours to take. So for example, if you were driving from Bombay to Pune and you reached the expressway and there was an accident and the road was shut, because you know where you are heading, you know that you have to get to Pune, you can then search for alternative routes. But if you didn't know that destination, how would you know how you are going to move forward? This is what I mean by measuring success and defining it. Don't speak in terms of better or lots. Don't speak in terms of rich. Don't speak in terms of freedom. I want to be free to live my life. Well, I mean, who's stopping you right now? Think about it. Who or what is stopping you right now? And you will realize, what do you mean by free to live your life? I want to live a better life. What does better mean? Better for me is different and it's different for you. So define it. I want lots of money. Well, what does lots mean? 10,000 could be lots for someone and 10 lakhs could not be enough for someone. So what do you mean by lots? And again, don't answer that question by saying enough money to do the things I want to do. Define the want. What all do you want to do so that you have a number? So if you listen to episode 40, which is about being money-minded versus having a money mindset, it's one of the things I talk about in that. Always talk about money in terms of numbers. Define it. So if you are measuring success in terms of money, you want to listen to that episode and define your success accordingly. So what's the question you're going to answer this week? How are you measuring your success? When you say, I want to be successful, what do you mean by that? In very, very clear terms. Literally 5 bullet points or a single sentence. So on that note, I'm going to sign off. And as a reminder, listen to last week's episode about finding your purpose, the one before that about living your potential, episode number 81 and episode number 40, which was about money. And I will see you again, or rather, you will hear me again next Monday. All previous episodes are available on the IVM app and their website, and you can connect with me on Instagram. My handle is Positivity Angel. Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed that show. We'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Intel, Storytel, and Cambly. And let me tell you a couple of things that you should check out this week. On Storytellers and Storysellers, Vineet is joined by actor Amol Parashar and content strategist at TVF, Akansh Kaur. They talk about the risks and rewards they encountered after quitting their traditional jobs for digital media entertainment. On Advertising is Dead, Varun is joined by business head of Gully Gang Entertainment, Chaitanya Kataria. They discuss the rise of new age music. On Litnama, Lakshmi is in conversation with poet Jasmine Khurana. They discuss the trend of slam poetry. On Football Shirtball, Gaurav, Karthik and Siva talk about Man City's visit to the Emirates Stadium. On Simplified, Chuck and Shriketh simplify the impeachment process in the US and discuss the chances of Trump getting impeached. On Geek Fruit, Chetna is joined by Siddhant Mehta and they do a roundup of the greatest hits and myths of 2019. Thanks and keep listening.
Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli, Don Bradman, and now Cyrus Brocha. Okay, probably not in the right company. I mean, Don Bradman is Australian. But it's called Cyrus Says, a wonderful show about everything. Find the show on the IVM Podcast app, ivmpodcast.com, or wherever you listen to podcasts.